In a previous video, I used this shampooer to go and shampoo our pink dining room, which actually is one room that way. I'm in our, we'll call it the brown living room. And it worked really just fine, cleaned just fine, cleaned up just fine. And even with a new belt and checking to make sure that the baffle deflector was installed, it made an awful racket as far as I'm concerned when, let's see if I can do this, when this started to fill with the shampoo foam. So before that, it didn't make a racket. It sounded honestly very normal to me. And then after a few seconds, this one just started buzzing and grinding as far as I'm concerned. I didn't notice any particular damage. It didn't do any weird thing with the belt, didn't hurt the machine, and of course there's no problems with the main Avalir itself. That's all fine. But you notice that, as I introduced at the end of the previous video discussing this, this is shampooer number 2. Now this one I got in a thrift store several years ago, and I've never used it at all. I have not the slightest idea what kind of condition it's in, except I do have a nice fresh belt on there. So let's go ahead and do some dry vacuuming, and let's just play around with stuff just in general to see if that grinding noise that you could plainly hear, that honestly I think degrades the idea of high performance and like smooth and whatnot. It doesn't sound right. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on with that. If it's normal, and in the previous video I've had a lot of comments where people have said, yep, does it for me, it's totally normal. I've seen in a few other YouTube videos, yep, totally normal for them. Some other YouTube videos, maybe with some poor sound quality, I couldn't necessarily say that I heard that grinding noise that I didn't like. So I'm kind of iffy about it. So at this point, really what I want to do is just like some additional testing to see if truly that's just the new way that Avalirs work. All right, so this is just a test, just to see if it makes a racket, essentially just running by itself with no fluid in it one way or another. I was able to get it to make a racket. Let's see. I wonder if we can see that on the side. I'm just gonna take that off. Now hopefully, I wonder, is it this that's vibrating? You know, I never checked. Let me see, maybe that thing's just vibrating. Oh. So maybe it's just this tray that's vibrating. Well, I can live with that. So I bet you it's where these bristles actually scrape against these little plastic pieces right here. And I imagine that's probably normal. So, I mean, that's what it has to do to scrape the shampoo off. How about that? All right. Okay, so how about that? I just wasn't, I guess I just was a little surprised that it would make that kind of racket. Okay, so that's what it is. That's what it is. How about, let me get you in a little closer. So if we take a closer look, you can see the brush roll bristles here, and they do not sit proud of this particular edge. But when you put in your recovery tray and you have this piece right here, this does actually, you can hear it, this does touch the bristles plainly. So that will make a racket. So, yep, guess that's just the way it is. All right, so mystery solved. And just for fun, let's check the other system, the one that I've never used before. How much of a racket will it make? So I think we're all set up. Let's check for a racket. Yep, it certainly makes a racket. So if anybody was wondering, the noise is normal. That doesn't mean that I like it. I think it's just kind of tacky, but it is a performance-oriented noise. It means that your dirty bristles are getting scraped off right here, and your dirt is going into this little cassette bin. All right, glad that's over. Well, since I went to all the trouble to take out not only one but two shampoo kits, how about we finish up what's in this shampoo bottle, which actually amounted to 2 capfuls, put it in the tank, which would mean that would be 2/3 full tank, and I'll just shampoo with the system that I've never used before, and I will just run it until it runs out of suds. So let's see how well this one works. I'm setting it now in between hard floor and carpet, because when I did carpet, it seemed like the suds was a little bit on the thick side, but we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to go in this direction. And away we go. Okay, so obviously I intentionally overdid it with suds because I just wanted to run it out. So normally you wouldn't put this much down on the carpet. But you know what? I want to see if my microphone will pick up the snap, crackle, pop that you can hear with all the suds. It's kind of a nifty sound. See if you can hear this. Reminds me of Rice Krispies when I was a kid, a long time ago. Now you're supposed to go over all the suds with the control right here set to off so you don't have any more nifty little bubble solution coming out. So that's what I'm going to do next. boy, that thing makes a racket. I guess you get used to it eventually, though. So now I'm going to go ahead and empty this cassette. And it's got some dirt in there. It's not a whole lot, but it's some. See if I can show you a little bit right here. I don't want to dump it out, though. If I can be really careful and do this without having it fall. So that's what it picked up. So this is the room, and this specific part of the room where our dog spends a lot of time. Even just sitting there and looking out the window. Well, I've rinsed the tray out, so that's all clean. I can set that up for drying. So let's get this machine apart, and while we wash everything off, start the drying process for all the parts outside. You need to wait until the carpet's completely dry before you start your dry vacuuming session, and then you're technically done. That. There's this. And there we go. Ever wonder how this shampoo system manages to get something from, say, here onto your carpet? Well, let's take a peek. Rinse off the excess hair and take a look at that. See that? It's like a little waterfall right along here. It's that little baffle thing.